November is National Adoption Month. With more than 16,000 children living in foster care in Illinois alone, there's a great opportunity for those of you looking to expand your family. But many would-be adoptive parents just don't know where to start. So that's where our first guests come in. Deborah Olivia Farmer, a former WGN employee, I might add, and Tamara Brown both know the road to adoption very well, and they're sharing what they've learned. Thank you both for joining us.
Thank you so much for having us.
Well,
nice to see you.
Nice to see you too. Let's start off by saying Deborah has a 6-year-old, I just found out, oh my God, I remember when he was born, adoptive son. And Tamara is waiting for her little one to come. She doesn't know when it's coming. She says that's the most exciting part. But a lot of people are a little scared to start doing it. Deborah, was it scared for you at first, or did you just jump right in?
Like, typical Deborah fashion, I just jumped right in. I actually was introduced to the foster care system back in the late 90s. So I had an understanding of the space, but when it came to actually going through the process, I went through the process pretty quickly, got my foster care license, and just waited to be placed. So I jumped 2 feet in, right into the pool.
Was it scary for you, Tamara, or did you jump right in?
I did not jump right in.
Oh.
I was behind the scenes. I kind of say I was like the little elf, researching. I wasn't talking about it. I think it was a combination of anxiety and excitement, kind of all rolled in one.
Mm-hmm. Is there a stigma in the Black community about adoption?
Absolutely. I think, to Tamara's point, and this is, no disrespect to her in any way, but, she kept it close to the chest for that very reason. I do believe that we need to find ways to talk about this. There has been a stigma for a very long time. I think out of fear, embarrassment, what if it doesn't happen? If you're not able to conceive naturally, there's something wrong with you. So there has been for, a very long time, a stigma connected to this.
And I know, Deborah, you've written a book about it, about your journey to Joshua, haven't you?
I have, and it really came from a place of just sort of, how do I prepare others to take this step? What I did find, through the process, people were very excited for me, but very fearful for themselves. They many times said, hey, this is something I've always wanted to do, but they don't do it. Mm-hmm. And so the thought behind the book was really to put a little bit of my personal story out there in the sense of how did I get to Joshua? What steps did I take? How did I even end up here? And then also providing people with the steps to move beyond fear and move in a place of love.
Now, Tamara, did you go through an adoption agency, or how did you start your journey?
I actually started my journey through the foster care system in Los Angeles. And I didn't end up getting a match then. I fast forward, I relocated to Charlotte and decided to do a domestic infant adoption. And I am working with an agency.
So there are various ways to do this process. It's not just a one-way deal. In your book especially, Deborah, what do you suggest to folks to do? Look at the different options before they try them, or go with one particular way?
Absolutely, find what's best for you. Like Tamara mentioned, she went through the foster care process initially. That is where I ended, and it didn't really work out for her, which is why she decided to go in a different direction. So I think that had she not had that experience going through foster care, she wouldn't know to go this particular route. My recommendation is that people do research. It's like when you're looking for a job, you do research on the organization that you want to go and work for. And so, there are tons of agencies out there, even from my story, I was actually, I got my foster care through one agency, but when it was time to be placed, I wasn't appreciative to the organization and how they weren't listening to my needs. And they were calling with all types of scenarios that were not the best fit for me. So I actually changed my license to another agency. So you have that right to do, but you will not do that unless you know to actually do some research.
Right, research is important. Tamara, I know you said you didn't find a match. What exactly does that mean for folks out there who want to know about adoption?
Well, just as Deborah said, oftentimes once you get through the licensing and certification process, you start getting calls about different scenarios. And the scenarios that I was being called for just weren't a match for what I was looking for, and honestly, what I thought I could handle. And that's one of the things you learn in the process, is to just be very honest with yourself, be very honest with the agent, agency, and even as Deborah said, if you're working with an agency that doesn't meet your needs, be honest about that and not afraid to move on. And so in my case, the agency just was not able to find a connection for what I was looking for, and I decided to make a different decision.
Is it expensive? And well, is it expensive? And if you're single or married, is there a difference?
You know, I think partly why we joined forces here is to sort of talk about it from both sides. You know, from the foster care side here, it can cost $0 to $1,500. And that $1,500 could just be you getting an attorney to go through the process if you have to maybe have the bio dad or mom's rights terminated. So you would need legal representation. So from that perspective, there's no cost to go through foster care. And I think that that is partly what we want to do, is to educate people so that they know they don't have to live in a place of not understanding if there's going to be a big whopping bill at the end of the process for you.
And Tamara,
and from my perspective, the domestic infant adoption process, it is pretty expensive, and it can range anywhere from $20,000 to $35,000. And I found different ways that you can work with the expenses. I don't want to say work around them, because it's pretty consistent with any agency you work with. But there are ways to sparse it out so that you're not paying all of those expenses right up front.
We could talk about this all day. Good luck to both of you. Nice to see both of you. And Deborah,
thank you. Great to see you as well.
Give Joshua a kiss for me, please.
I will.
All right,
Absolutely.
guys. For more information,
Thank you so much.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you. Visit blackadoptionmatters.com for more information.